There's no way we are going to this event now. There's a 0% chance. First and foremost, why are you saying invite? Anybody can go to it. You just buy a ticket to the event, and you're all working to try to get me to confirm that I'm going. And you're doing this as if you're trying to like push my buttons and be like, we got to make her get into her ego so she like shows up and like posts it on social media. Nope. Actually, while I'm attacking the feds, maybe not going to a public event, which the feds are organizing, is probably a very good idea. I'm good. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna listen to Power on my headphones and go see Ye. How's that for a memorial for Charlie Kirk? That feels like the right thing for me to do.
Clear we're not getting all the information. It's clear something's off here. The first person, the old man, I don't even know why he was grabbed, but he was grabbed and his picture was fundled out. And then there was someone else who was a person of interest, and that didn't work. And then we got this guy. He had a bulletproof vest that might have caught the exit. Really? That's interesting. That's definitely an interesting point of view. But what kind of bulletproof vest are you talking about? Because usually bulletproof vests, they cover your front, they cover your back. There's points of vulnerability on the sides usually. I haven't seen too many. I mean, was he wearing like hardcore Kevlar? Like fully body casted? That's wild. Nobody mentioned that yet. Military grade. He was wearing military grade. I don't know. It's funny. Seems like they might have mentioned that.
I don't want to even get into the whole thing with the GUN being dismantled, the guy jumping off of the roof without the weapon. This whole thing looks fishy, and that's why I said I always say this. I say I rather get all the information first, then make a comment. But yeah, it's just real fishy. Of course, they say
We have a right to question the validity of it. And it's got to pass the smell test. There's something wrong with all of this. And everyone is starting to pick it out piece by piece, thread by thread. Everyone is starting to see something's wrong here. The question is,
y'all, this story just took a wild turn. Remember how Candace Owens kept warning us that Charlie Kirk's death wasn't what it seemed? Well, now Jaguar Wright has stepped in, and she's not just backing Candace up, she's dropping bombshells that could blow this whole case wide open. We're talking secret billionaires, FBI interference, and a cover-up so messy that Candace says she's scared for her life. Buckle up because this rabbit hole goes deep. This story just got messy. For months, Candace Owens has been out here sounding the alarm, saying Charlie Kirk's death wasn't just a tragedy, it was a setup. People dragged her, called her a clout chaser, even a conspiracy theorist. But now, Jaguar Wright just came through and basically dropped receipts that line up with everything Candace has been screaming about. And the way Jaguar tells it, this wasn't random at all. She says billionaires were involved, the FBI is covering tracks, and the people at the top are working overtime to bury the truth. And here's the wildest part. Candace says she's so scared, she wouldn't even show up to Charlie's own memorial because she thinks her life is in danger. Think about that. If Jaguar's right, if Candace is right, then we're not just talking about one man's death. We're talking about a cover-up so big, it could shake the entire political machine. What Jaguar just revealed will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about this case. Now, if you're just tuning into this whole situation, let me break it down real quick. Charlie Kirk's death shook the political world because it didn't add up from the start. Officially, they said it was the act of some random young man, but the timeline, the evidence, and the way the feds immediately jumped and had people side-eyeing the whole thing. Within hours, the FBI swooped in and took control of the investigation from local police, which some called standard procedure, but Candace Owens wasn't buying it. From day one, she was loud about it, saying the feds weren't trying to solve the case, they were trying to bury it. She pointed out how they never released key photos or videos that the internet could have pieced together in minutes, and she accused them of scrubbing digital trails, especially in Discord chats. Back then, most folks dismissed her as going too far, but looking back now, a lot of people are starting to wonder if she might have been the only one telling the truth. So here's what the public was told. The FBI announced that as soon as news broke about Charlie Kirk's shooting, agents from their Salt Lake City field office rushed in. They promised full resources, tactical units, intelligence teams, the works. Officials framed it as a case of radicalization, saying they were digging into dark web activity, chat logs, and extremist affiliations to figure out who pushed the alleged shooter over the edge. On paper, it sounded like the feds were doing their job, treating Charlie's case as high priority because of his political influence and connections. But here's where things get messy. Candace Owens was one of the first people to call foul, and she did it loud. She tweeted that if the FBI actually wanted answers, they would have blasted out photos and video evidence instantly, because we all know the internet solves these cases faster than anyone. Instead, she said the feds were deliberately holding things back, scrubbing Discord servers, and hiding key details. In her words, this wasn't about solving the crime. It was about controlling the narrative. She even claimed the Bureau had been lurking in those very Discord chats the suspect used, which made their silence look more like a cover-up than an investigation. Of course, at first, people rolled their eyes. Candace has been accused of chasing clout, and a lot of folks brushed her off as spinning another wild conspiracy theory. I mean, why would the FBI risk its reputation to protect anyone? But as the days went on, the official story started showing cracks, and suddenly, Candace's crazy warnings didn't seem so crazy anymore. And this is where Jaguar Wright jumps in. And y'all know, Jaguar does not play. Love her or hate her, one thing about Jaguar is that she'll say the things everybody else is too scared to touch. On her podcast, she straight up said the story we've been fed doesn't make sense, and she claims powerful people are being protected at the highest level. According to her, the FBI isn't keeping secrets to protect the integrity of the investigation. They're doing it to shield billionaires who may have had a hand in Charlie's death. Jaguar went even deeper, questioning details that nobody in the mainstream brought up. She asked how the suspect could have possibly pulled this off if he wasn't trained, and then pointed out the detail that Charlie might have been wearing a military-grade bulletproof vest, something that conveniently never made it into the official reports. She broke it down, saying normal vests leave vulnerabilities, but the kind Charlie supposedly had? That's next-level protection. And if that's true, it changes everything about how this attack could have even happened. And she wasn't alone. Jaguar brought a guest onto her show who raised even more red flags, from the weird way the suspect's weapon was allegedly dismantled, to reports that someone jumped from a roof without the gun ever being found. The guest called the whole setup fishy, and honestly, that's putting it lightly. With Jaguar backing Candace up and stacking on her own bombshells, suddenly this wasn't just one loud voice crying conspiracy. It started sounding like a pattern, a thread unraveling piece by piece. But here's where things really start to fall apart, the so-called evidence. First, the suspect's own grandmother came forward, and her words had people stunned. She said her grandson had never even fired a gun in his life. He didn't hunt, didn't own firearms, didn't even have the temperament for violence. In her eyes, there was just no way he could have pulled this off. And this isn't just a grandma trying to defend her family. She pointed out that their entire household leans Republican. Many of them were even Trump supporters. So the idea that her grandson would target Charlie Kirk, of all people, made zero sense. Then came the leaked texts, and this is where a lot of folks said the math just wasn't mathing. These so-called messages between the suspect and his roommate felt almost too perfect, like they were ripped straight out of a bad movie script. In the texts, the suspect supposedly confesses everything. The shooting, the engraved bullets, even the exact spot where he left the weapon. Convenient, right? Almost too convenient. Viewers online immediately called them out as fake AF, pointing out that no one dumb enough to plan a hit like this would also be dumb enough to text a full confession with step-by-step receipts. And when you line all this up, the grandma's defense, the overly neat confession texts, and the way the official story keeps changing, it just doesn't pass the smell test. It feels less like an airtight case and more like puzzle pieces that were forced together to make the picture fit. And every time something new leaks, the picture looks more and more fake. And this all circles back to Candace herself. Fans were shocked when she skipped Charlie's memorial, but the reason she gave was even more chilling. She said she was too afraid for her life to show up. According to her, the same people she's been calling out are powerful enough to make anyone disappear, and the last place she wanted to be was in a public space that the feds were overseeing. And honestly, if Jaguar's claims about billionaires and FBI cover-ups are even halfway true, that fear makes a lot of sense. Because we're not just talking about one man's death anymore. This starts to look like a power play happening in plain sight. And if the truth is being buried to protect the people at the top, then what Candace and Jaguar are saying isn't just controversial, it's explosive. So now the question is, what do you think? Is this really the massive conspiracy that Candace and Jaguar are making it out to be, with billionaires, the FBI, and power players pulling strings behind the scenes? Or do you think they're just doing too much, spinning tragedy into drama for attention? Because honestly, the official story has holes big enough to drive a truck through, but the theories are wild enough to sound unbelievable. I want to hear your take. Do you buy what Candace and Jaguar are saying, or do you think this is one big stretch? Drop your thoughts down below, because the comments are where the real debate is happening. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for what's next. Because if you thought Jaguar stopping at billionaires and the FBI was shocking, wait until you hear who else she hinted could be connected to all of this. Let's just say the names being whispered would shake the entire political world if they came out. That's in the next video, and you do not want to miss it.